blowing it, Nick. You're blowing it.
You can't laugh when you're doing that. It's okay. Anyway, what's going on, guys? My name is, of course, Nicky Rizzles, and I am so graciously joined by
The Voice, John Panetti.
And this is the Voice and Rizzles podcast. We want to start off with this episode as a introduction to who we are, what we do, what we know, who we know, and why we think that you guys will be interested in continually listening to the podcast and tuning in not only via audio, but via YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. So, John, why don't you give a little backstory, who you are, and we'll kind of kick it off from there.
And basically why anybody should really care.
That's it.
Like Nicky said, we're using the YouTube and we're using, what else? iTunes, Spotify, and any other platform we really get our hands on, just to make sure we can reach as many people as humanly possible. So a little bit about me. From Long Island, born and raised, high school here, and I was a fat kid. So
I can relate.
You know, when I was growing up, I was I was about 193 or so, but back when I was still growing up, so I was 5'3", glasses, too shy to stand up for myself, and my last name it's pronounced Panetti, but everybody called me Pignetti, and you know, I got tired of correcting people. So my friends were always calling me Piggy. Now it was in good fun, good harm, so it doesn't matter. But that was my life. Remember reading Lord of the Flies back in the day? Yeah, man. Guess who had to read every line Piggy had? So when he got crushed by the boulder, I was so happy. Thank God. He's done. I get to sit back, relax a little bit, and call it a day, you know?
Yeah, man.
So my first gym was a really small survival gym in Seaford. It held its own. It did its job for back in the day, what I needed to do. And my best friend dragged my ass to the gym. Ironically, I hated it, every little bit of it. You know what I mean? I was on the elliptical, and suddenly, and I wasn't eating right. You know, I was eating Burger King because I thought it was protein. I'm like, all right. But you know what? Back in the day, it worked for me. It got the job done.
It did something.
Exactly. And eventually, all my shirts started to wear me. And I saw my first bicep vein. And I thought, like, well, hold on. This is the coolest thing in the world. I'm like, I want to fill these shirts back out again, but have to get a bigger size. And eventually, well, whatever. I couldn't drive or anything back then. I was riding my bike to the gym. Eventually got a job at a gym a lot closer to me because I couldn't afford the membership there. It was the World Gym in Wantaw. Ludicrously overpriced, but like I said, for somebody who couldn't drive, it worked better for me.
And you made it happen. You got to the gym, you took your bike. I'm sure there were inclement weather days where it wasn't the easiest to ride there, but you still got it done, so that's dope.
Exactly. And they paid me too, so no membership and nothing. But besides that, somebody told me, it's like, John, do you ever think of competing? I'm like, what do you mean, competing? They showed me a picture of Kai Green back then. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is that? But I loved it. I'm like, well, this is awesome. So I'm just going to keep pursuing what I love. And eventually I was graduating high school. But I always had a nick for art and really just all of the arts. You know, music, fine arts, everything. So I was one of the head members of my art club back in high school. I was on the debate team,
That's awesome.
In charge of the stage crew by the time I was a senior. And I always found myself loving that part of it. So bodybuilding, as much of a sport as it really is, for me it was always an art. You know, just taking the human body and trying to sculpt it into something that, you know, what could it be? So as I was graduating high school, I was always, excuse me, a bit more of an entrepreneur. I was running little online coaching things back in the day when I didn't really know what the hell I was doing, especially compared to now. But I left there realizing, you know what, one day I'm going to open up my own gym. So I went to Pace University down in Lower Manhattan for a semester. Now my move-in day was, sorry I'm flip-flopping back and forth here.
No, keep it up, man.
But my move-in day was the day after my first competition. It was an INBA show, a natural, you know, drug-tested organization. And I didn't know there were more local shows, so I flew to Chicago for that at 18 by myself. And I'm looking around, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I was looking at myself with this spray tan. I remember a post I made back then too. It was a tan-formation. I thought it was the funniest thing.
Tan-formation, I like that.
It was my tan-formation Tuesday. Back when hashtags were really a big thing back on Instagram.
Back when they still are. I still spam all the hashtags I can on my Instagram, and they do little to nothing for me.
Yeah, but you're spamming them now, but people really care. Like, where's your Flashback Friday?
Yeah.
Who's your Woman Crush Wednesday? Why didn't you post me?
Oh, God.
Babe, take it down a notch, all right?
Oh, God.
Or you'll be my way back Wednesday.
I've had way too many girlfriends that have requested their presence on a woman crush.
Oh, Jesus.
And I just couldn't do it.
That's why from here on out, Nick, you're my man crush Monday. All right?
Yes, vice versa, baby.
That's it. But I know we're new to the podcast. You gotta laugh into the mic so people know you're having a good time.
I don't want to be blowing people's ears off. I'm having a great time. I'm already having a good time. I'm already loving it.
But anyway, I went to Pace University, and I remember the day I moved in. Like I said, it was the day after my show, and I was catching a red eye from Chicago. And I knew after a competition, especially any of you that have competed before, you make all these big plans like, I'm going to go out to Atlantic City tonight. No, you're going to go home and you're going to go the fuck to bed. You're tired.
God.
You've competed before, Nick, right?
Yeah, man. I made lists. I was addicted to the Food Network when I was competing. I did when I was away at college, and all my roommates would just come back, and it was like I was watching porn because I'd just be watching the Travel Channel and the Food Network. I'd be writing down ideas. Oh, I can't wait to go to this restaurant. I can't wait to go to this one. And then after the show, you just wind up maybe like stuffing your face with some peanut butter and going to bed.
Yeah. I remember after I did the Easterns last year, everyone wanted to go out to eat. And I remember I was driving home from Jersey because that's where it's located. I stopped at a 7-Eleven on the way home, got a bunch of garbage, just driving home, eating snacks.
What was the go-to? You got to tell me what the go-to was.
Ooh, I think I got a box of Milanos. I don't even love Milanos, but you know what? That night, they were the best things I've ever had.
Oh, I love anything that's sweet, so that to me, that's perfect.
Without a doubt. But as I was saying, from Chicago, I was taking a red eye home. I knew after that show with my exhaustion, there was no way I was waking up for a flight in 4 hours. So I ended up pulling an all-nighter that night, getting on a flight from Chicago to New York, which was obviously a short flight. And then from JFK, I took the subway to Pace University. I had somebody meet me with all my shit I had to move into the school. Moved everything upstairs, and I just went to bed.
Oh, man.
I crashed out. So I moved in the day after everybody else. My intro to everybody was, hi, my name is John. Let me explain myself. I look like a tree. Like the side of a fucking oak tree.
Hello, everybody. I want to explain why I look like Snooki right now. There's no other good explanation for the fact that I just stood half naked in front of an auditorium full of people.
But it's okay because I paid for it, too.
Yes, I paid for it. I paid for my whole way. Nobody paid for me to go, and I was half naked.
And I had to. It was by choice, too. Nobody made me do anything.
Yeah, it's an interesting lifestyle.
Yeah, but you know what? If you love it, you love it. And there's no other reason to do it. People do it for Instagram, or they do it because everybody else is competing nowadays. You look at so many competitors now, and you know, props to everybody. And a lot of them are putting in a lot of hard work. The very few of them are putting in more work than we can even imagine. A lot of people are just going through the motions, you know, saying I can do it because everybody else is, and it shows. Yeah. It really does show who's putting in that work, and that's what separates the men from the boys.
Yeah. Yeah, you know? I busted my ass for those shows, and I had all the intent to win that pro card and become a pro and do my damn thing, and I put in that hard work, and I was very proud with what I brought and what I did, but I just knew that there's a whole other level when you start looking at that pro stage. There's a whole other level, and I just said I am not going to hit that level. I would rather just train my ass off, eat good ass food, and have a good time training, because I found, because I know you're still competing. Yes. I'm retired. I hung the board shorts up. You were doing bodybuilding. I was hitting men's bikini. So I was looking cute out there with my board shorts and looking lean, hand on the hip. But I just knew that I didn't want to continue down the competition path. I still live the healthy lifestyle, and obviously with what I do, I'm around all the competitors and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a whole other level of people who put in the damn work, and I feel like the whole generation that I see, at least, especially the quote unquote day passers that go to Bev's, I see them getting naked and posing around the gym. I think I had my shirt off out of 4 years of off-season, on-seasons. I think I had my full shirt off maybe once at the gym, and that was for 5 minutes, and I put it back on. Yeah, that's it. I just feel like everybody's doing it to stun on one another. And, you know, when I shoot a video for somebody, I'm very big on, how do I word it? I'm very big on making sure the video is something that is of substance quality. I don't want it to just be another, I'm flexing on everybody on Instagram. Right. And that's because that brings me and my career nowhere. And that brings that person 5 minutes of fame, and they scroll and they find the next motivational video.
Well, it's a dime a dozen at that point.
Exactly.
But that's what I was going to say about you too, is you stopped the competing route, but you went from 0 to 100 in the filming industry with the fitness in a matter of what, 2 years from
Yeah.
what is this camera? You picked up something from CVS to, you know what? I don't know a lot about the podcast and how to get everything started, but this was the man I had to go to co-host it. There was no question. He gave me a list. He's like, we're good. You need this, and this.
Everything.
Let's do it.
So I guess I'll branch off. My name is Nick Rizzo. Everybody knows me as Nicky Rizzles. Rizzles is my nickname that I got when I was in high school at a party. We were a little intoxicated, I will admit that. And from there, nobody could get my attention. Now, you said Pinetti.
Yeah.
Right? And what do people call you?
Pignetty.
Okay, so
I just got tired of correcting everybody.
my other last name, which no one really knows about, is Puya.
Puya.
So my original homies and friends from middle school and elementary school and earlier, they all know me as Nick Puya.
Oh no, it's worse than mine.
Exactly. So my mom's last name is Rizzo, and I just spend more time with mom. I've always have been. My parents are divorced since I was 2, so I'm still tight with my dad. However, Rizzo was always the name that I wanted to take and do. So over the course of, I'd say, middle school to high school, I switched gears and people stopped knowing me as Puya and they knew me as Nick Rizzo, which then turned to Nicky Rizzles. So I have people that think Rizzles is my actual last name, and it's not. Rizzles is not my last name. I got a press pass from MD for the New York Pro, and they wrote me. They're like, yeah, we gave the press pass to Steve from Bev's, and we asked him to make it out to Nicky Rizzles. I'm like, that's not my last name, but it's cool.
I'm sure they knew.
Yeah, so similar to you, I was heavy when I was in high school. So even before then, being my parents were split up, I would go to my dad's house, and my dad has multiple sclerosis, so he can't walk at all. When I was younger, it wasn't as bad as it is today. My dad is fully in a wheelchair now. However, back then, it was very difficult for him to do any activity with me. You know, you have a teenage boy that wants to go out, do things, run around, stuff like that.
Of course.
However, it's very difficult to catch up with somebody when you can barely walk. So the big thing with MS is you can't feel the bottoms of your feet. So one thing led to another. Just we would sit in the house, I'd play video games, and I'd eat and eat and eat.
And before you know it,
you have no
idea what you ate.
You're the size of a fucking house.
Yeah.
And it was absurd how big I was 270 at my top end.
Wow.
In 10th grade. Now, when I went and got that blood work done, because my mom kept trying to get me to get blood work, and I absolutely fucking hate doctors and needles, she finally got me to go, and they wound up telling me that if I got any heavier, I would actually need an insulin pump.
Wow.
So, how old are you in fucking 10th grade? 14, 15, right?
I think like 16, because you're graduating around 18.
Okay, so so like 15, 16.
16 years old.
16 years old, 270 pounds. That's that, and to be told, by the way, if you get any heavier and you keep up this unhealthy lifestyle, you're going to require an insulin pump is like the biggest shock in the world.
But the craziest thing too is they're saying keep up this lifestyle, but that was the only lifestyle you knew. You know what I mean? So you had to take a whole 360 round and become a new you.
Yeah. So luckily at the time, I had a chiropractor that practiced functional medicine, and he knew how to manipulate foods and talk. So one Saturday, I'll never forget it, he sat down with me and we went over every food group, because I didn't know what a carb was.
Of course.
I didn't know what a protein was.
Yeah.
So we literally just made a list, and he just told me, this is the stuff that you should stick to, this is the stuff that you should avoid. And I think we talked probably in the springtime. So by the time summer came around, I'm ashamed to admit this, but I went to summer school for gym twice, okay?
I thought that was a myth.
No, it's not a myth. It's very real.
Wow.
I just didn't go.
Okay.
So unfortunately for me, being a dumbass, I had to not only go for one session of gym summer school, but I had to go for 2, because I really didn't go, and I failed both semesters, the first half of the school year and the second half of the school year.
Oh, man.
So that was 4 hours. Yes, 4 hours of gym summer school in the middle of June, July heat.
Oof.
When you're walking and running on the track. That's all they had you do. They would have you walk on the track, run on the track, go into the weight room, and just lift weights. And this is before I knew anything about weightlifting, and I was heavy.
Yeah.
But I looked at that as a positive, because it's like, now I can lose the weight.
Definitely.
So I wound up having to do that Monday to Thursday
Right.
for like, oh my God, it was probably 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I wound up doing all of that, learning how to eat foods. And I actually wound up doing a keto diet before I even knew what the hell keto was.
Yeah.
I wound up going to the groceries, to the deli every day for lunch, getting half a pound of turkey, half a pound of Swiss cheese,
Yeah.
and I would just do roll-ups, and I would cut the carbs out, didn't eat any carbs,
Wow.
and one thing led to another. I wound up dropping to 180 pounds.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so it was pretty fucking cool to be able to do that and lose all the weight. But over the course, I think it was a year later, I started dating a girl, and that was my long-term girlfriend for about 3.5 years, 4 years. Now, over the course of those 3.5, 4 years, the weight started to creep back up on me.
Yeah.
And it started to.
And suddenly the floor started to creep.
Oh
back
my
on
God!
you.
I was like, why the fuck is why is the sidewalk cracking when I'm when I'm walking? So,
Yeah.
luckily though, I went. This is the summer of 2012. I went and joined Bev's.
Okay.
And I joined Bev Francis, and I met Kevin English, and I got pictures of Kai, and it was awesome, and it was a way different environment and world than what I was used to. And once I joined that gym, I just knew that there was a different life out there, and I didn't really know the competition, competitive side of things. So, after I joined that summer, she went away to a school and I went away to school, and within like a month and a half, it just
Right.
it like devastatingly ended, like bad.
But that's the high school sweetheart.
And I was
Yeah.
in a very bad place, mentally, physically. I was back up to 240. Like, yeah, it wasn't sitting like it was because I started training and I definitely had more muscle, so it wasn't as pronounced.
Right.
But you could tell. I mean, I sweat.
course, yeah.
I sweat walking to a fucking door.
240 is 240, and we're
Yeah.
not 6'3".
No, 5'7" on the dot. So, what wound up happening was I wound up just sitting in my dorm room,
Right.
totally upset, totally sad, and I said to myself, the only logical thing to do right now is to try and do a competition. So I said, let's get into shape, let's figure some shit out, and let's get in the best shape of our life. So I wound up, oh my God, what was his name? Ryan Hughes. Do you remember Ryan Hughes? He was a men's physique guy, pro men's physique. You probably didn't.
It sounds familiar, but
He had PDFs back then. He had
Okay.
PDFs of all of his workouts, and I bought his Blast for Mass.
who's the original person who's doing everything that's going
Yeah,
on
he was
today?
doing this 2012. This is before
Wow.
everybody started. This is
Wow.
before Sadiq. Everybody. This is like he's the cutting edge. This is when Sadiq was doing men's physique originally, like just and Matt Acton, and everyone's starting to get those W's.
Well, yeah, the
So-
divisions we know nowadays weren't even there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I wound up getting all of his PDFs. I wound up focusing on diet, dropping, starting to drop the weight. Luckily, I went to Quinnipiac, so I was 20 minutes away from Montanari Bros Powerhouse Gym.
Ooh, okay.
So when I was away at school, I got to train there, and when I was home, I got to train at Bev's.
So you're going Mecca to Mecca.
Oh my God, it was phenomenal. It was amazing. And that's when I met Evan Centopani, and I was tight with him. And I used to train with Jeff Logan.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember Jeff Logan. He used to train under Evan, black dude, fully covered, neck to legs and tattoos.
Jesus.
Yeah, really cool dude. I used to train with him all the time, and he pushed me to keep it going. And it was just nice to have that type of environment when you usually go away to school and it's a party environment. Everyone's drinking and doing drugs, and you're over here. I got 7 a.m. cardio. I can't be doing this shit.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a saving grace instead of me getting into the wrong shit when I was away at school. But wound up doing my shows. Wound up doing 2 shows, and I'll try to give the abbreviated version because
Yeah.
of my whole backstory.
No. Great, man.
So I wound up doing the 2 shows, and then I came home, and I started working back at Apple, and I started working in sales, and then I moved to a few different companies, and then 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, so it was the winter of 2016. Yeah.
Okay.
Winter of 2016, my dad bought me a camera because I was going to start a YouTube channel and I was going to start podcasting. This is before kind of this all came about, and I had the idea for starting my show and doing this. And my dad bought me a camera because I wanted to start documenting and talking about how I competed twice, how I lost all the weight, maybe give inspiration to people that aren't in the know of how to do things, because we're very beneficial. I know we were talking before that we have pro bodybuilders that people wait in line for
to shake their hand.
Shake their hand. We hang out with these guys, and they're just the homies to us. They're just cool dudes.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Yo, you want to grab a bite? Like these are the bodybuilding world's actors and actresses, and we're just tight with them. We're just cool. So
that's exactly it.
So it allows and opens a door for us to bring content to you guys that you may not necessarily get to see or hear when we're just around these people at the gym.
Yeah. True.
But I digress. So we bought the camera, and I started my YouTube channel, and I started doing videos, and I did like it. I liked the editing process. I started learning how to do different things, and I made a video for my ex-girlfriend at the gym, and Arash asked me, he's like, yo, man, do you mind doing that for me? You know, doing like some type of video like that? I said, sure, I'll throw together a video.
Yeah, why not?
And I was working sales at the time, so this was kind of on the weekends or whenever I had free time. And one thing led to another. It took off. It skyrocketed.
Yeah.
I was working with Flex Lewis. I was working with Kai Green most recently. So I've done a lot of different things in this industry with some of the top guys just for videos themselves.
Yeah, but shooting the best guys in the world from, like I said, 0 to 100.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? It was a video for your girlfriend. Just, sure, why not? Let's throw something together.
That was it.
To professional shoots for companies, for top bodybuilders in the world.
Yeah, so it's definitely taken off to a different level, and it's been amazing. Completely blessed. I haven't had to actually go out and ask people to work with me, which has been my saving grace. I may have asked like 1 or 2 people or companies.
Of course.
Other than that, everybody has come to me, and it's been a blessing to have people enjoy my work and want to continue working with me. So that's kind of what I've been doing, what I am doing. I know when we talked a couple of weeks back, maybe a month or so ago, you had mentioned a podcast.
Yeah.
You had mentioned about doing a podcast, and like a jackass, I fucking thought you meant that you wanted me to help you record and have you do your podcast.
Stand behind a camera and hold the mic for me.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought that he wanted me to help him, and I was like, oh yeah, let's have a meeting. And during the meeting, I'm like, yeah, you want to buy this from what I'm understanding from this, and you want to buy that. And he's like,
No, hold on a second.
I think you're misunderstanding the point of this meeting. I want you to do the podcast with me.
Let's throw something together.
And here we are. So that's it. So that's how this kind of came about.
Yeah.
We weren't like the best of friends. We were just 2 classy dudes.
You know, it's kind of the same thing what we were saying, that you see the pros. It's, hey, what's up? What's going on, man? Except maybe a little bit more escalated. Like, yo, what's up, bro? How you been? What's going on? I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. To let's sit down, put some crazy content together, and show the world. You know what I mean?
Listen, man, I dig the vibe. I dig this, obviously, because we've pulled the trigger. We got the equipment. We didn't own any of this shit a week ago.
Nope.
We went out. We bought great shit. I want to make sure I sound good for all of you guys.
And that's my job.
He sounds good on it. He sounds good on anything
straight.
Because of the fucking voice he's got. I'm over here. I feel like I'm high pitched. I'm like squealing. But yeah, we want to just bring grade A content as a whole and benefit, whether, as we mentioned in the beginning, via it be video or through audio. We want to get everything covered for you guys. So if you're on the go and you want to listen to something and listen to an interview that we do with a top pro, you can just listen to it. You want to watch it and see the interaction between all of us, you can watch it too. So we're just hitting every single base.
Definitely. You know, it's a way to kill time in the car too, as stupid as it sounds. But the biggest thing that'll separate us as a podcast is podcasts, like I said before, they're a dime a dozen nowadays. They're all over the place. There's podcasts for what shade of white do you like more, egg or cream? And it'll go on for 34 episodes.
More of a cream kind of guy.
See, I'm an egg. That's the problem. That's why there's 34 episodes now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But what separates you with your work is this passion behind it. You know what I mean? You didn't get from, once again, 0 to 100 of shooting these top guys by saying, let me slap something together and make a quick buck. It's... How many hours did it take you to edit an episode again? Because I remember you telling me this, and it was ludicrous.
I mean, it depends. Usually a shoot will be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. I mean, depending on if I have to do an interview, depending on if they're just training.
Right.
And then the actual editing process itself, that can take me anywhere from, Oh God, it could take anywhere from 5 to 20 hours.
Yeah.
It depends on how in depth it goes. And whenever I talk to new kids, like especially amateur competitors that want to hit me up and have me do a video, and I'll shoot a price over to them, and they'll go, oh well, you know, I have a guy that does it for $200. Like that's going to be an episode that I talk very heavily on, is how the video guys in this industry are doing every single person a disservice because of how long it takes us to not only, I don't care about you cruising through an edit and then charging your guy $500, whatever you charge for a video, it's none of my business. It doesn't matter. But when you have somebody charging $200 a video where that is way below, I don't care if you don't think you're up to snuff with a lot of the bigger names and stuff like that. Time is time.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Time is time. Someone's coming to you because they think you do a quality job or because they're happy with what you were charging them. That's great, but your time is money.
Yeah.
And if this is a side hobby, whether this is your main profession, you gotta charge what your time is worth. And I same thing with personal training, I'm sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You probably have people that, charge fucking nothing for personal training.
But you know what? It goes in what I was about to say with you too, is people are charging $200, but they're slapping a video together like I would an iMovie and just put it together. You know, you're investing in thousands of dollars of cameras and audio equipment. You know, to put all this together, we dropped a lot of money just on mics because it's something we believe will do well and that we can help and, you know, really get in touch with everybody. So it's the initial investment, but besides that, it's the time you put in. You're putting in 20 hours to a video. Somebody charging $200, maybe they're putting an hour and a half. So in a way, forget about the discredit of them not charging enough for themselves. It's a discredit to the customer because they're not getting the quality that they should be getting.
Yeah. I had a kid recently who hit me up and he asked me for some stuff, and I told him, I said, I don't know what your other guy does. I don't know, you know, I've seen some of his work and that's great. You know, it is what it is. If you like that type of stuff, then that's fine. But I'm not the kind of guy that's just going to throw a million transitions on something and pump the video out.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not how I do it. If it doesn't tell a story, then there's no point to the video.
Well, it's not smoke and mirrors. It's meat and potatoes.
Exactly, man.
That's the difference right there.
It is what it is. So, we have, I know it could seem like we're going on tangents, but we want you to get a kind of understanding of who we are, what we do, our knowledge base. Like I said, I filmed some of the top guys. I'm very close with a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'll be at the New York Pro with press passes to
definitely.
photograph everybody. I have a lot of top athletes hit me up for photos when they're in town or videos or what have you.
Yeah.
And we just want to extend that out to everybody. So those conversations that I may have behind closed doors with a John Meadows or a Max Charles or an Arash Rabar, we want to bring that to light and maybe get some of your questions answered.
Yeah,
like,
you know, it's...
Yeah. No, please.
It's as simple as you look at anybody's Instagram, you know what I mean? There's only so many times you can hear a bodybuilder say, well, I train hard, I eat all my food, and I'm doing my cardio every day. But we want to be able to tell you, you know, what's going on in their lives. But besides that, it's, well, what makes you you? I mean, what separates this competitor from this competitor? In every pro's opinion, what separates an amateur from a pro? You know, they're eating the same amount of food. They could be working just as hard, eating the same amount of food, have, say, the same genetics, whatever else. But what makes you you? It's that mentality. You know, I'm seeing myself, obviously I'm nowhere near being a pro yet. But suddenly as I'm growing and I'm looking at these other competitors, you know, that are pros or up there, not that I'm saying on the level or even anything close to it, but I'm realizing, like, wait a minute, I'm training maybe not as hard as you because you're on a level that I don't understand yet, but I'm sure as hell eating as strict as I possibly can. There's no mess ups. I don't miss cardio, and I'm working my ass off in the gym. So, you know, that line of it used to be here to here, that dividing line of what makes them a god, suddenly turns into a blurred gray area. Well, wait a minute, you've just been doing it a little bit longer than me, and you're pushing yourself past these pain thresholds that I'm still discovering, and I'm sure they are as well. You know? Yeah.
I mean, it's, I guess it's the same thing in you know, because I'm not competing anymore. Hung the board shorts up, but I guess it's the same thing you could say with levels of my career paths and
without a doubt,
what separates me from a director or a director of photography of a big name movie.
Yeah, without a doubt, 100%.
Years of experience, just the path, and that's where I want to lead. I want to start shooting movies and doing big things. So the pathway is similar. Everyone has their own, but it's the same thing. Put the time in, put the hours in.
Definitely.
And just pedal to the metal.
But once again, those big directors or the big name bodybuilders of today, they didn't get there with smoke and mirrors. You know, they got there with the quality content you're recording. They got there with the time and consistency it takes for me to grow. You know what I mean?
I need big ass food, man. You gotta keep eating, man.
Exactly. But that's what everybody hears.
Yeah.
We're here to tell everybody, what else makes you a pro? What makes you you?
Yeah, besides
You know what I
just
mean?
eating your food or blending it up as you do.
Oh God, that's a whole other level for another day.
We'll do that on a nutrition
Yeah.
podcast. John blends all of his fucking food, and it's disgusting. Flex Lewis does the same shit, and it's gross, but whatever.
Gross or Mr. Olympia?
There you go. I guess I'm
suddenly.
the wrong one in that one. That's okay.
No, you hit the nail on the head. Doesn't mean it's good, but it sure gets the job done.
That's cool, man. But yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I think that's kind of a nice intro into who we are. Unless you have anything else you want to.
No, that's a solid base for now. I mean, like I said, you guys know what we're going to be talking about and where this podcast is going to be going. We're going to make sure we launch with the first 5 episodes for you guys so you really get an understanding of where it's going and who we are. And then until then, so we have those 5 episodes planned right now. But reach out to us as soon as you listen to them and let us know what else you want to see, because we're here for you guys.
Yeah, we're here to bring the content that you guys are craving. I know that sometimes getting information and getting the network that we have is very difficult. So allowing you to ask us what part of our network you want to tap into and allow us to give the information on, that is something that we want to make sure is very evident that we're here to do. So, yeah, I mean, on that note, I appreciate you guys listening in.
Yeah. Until next time.
Until next time.
Until that next click. That's it. You're going to watch that next episode.
That's it. Until next time.
All right.
This has been episode 1 of
The Voice
and Rizzles.
Take care, guys.
Thank you for watching and listening, guys.